Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. She went missing 8 years ago.
This was blocks away from Ariel Castro's house.
Now, she may have been spotted on surveillance video.
There was so much similarity between the photographs.
You've seen the photos. Could that be her?
Plus, homeless Joe is back.
We hunted him down. We found him drunk and barefoot.
But is he clean and sober?
I had no intention of going back to rehab.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things. Stand by, Dr. Phil. I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction. 5, 4. I am not giving up on you. Go, Dr. Phil. Today we are talking about two beautiful young women. Both vanish into thin air, never to be seen again. Years pass with no answers. But now, potential new clues have these cold cases heating up. First, a story back in the headlines after nearly 8 years. Ashley Summers disappeared from Cleveland, Ohio in 2007 when she was 14 years old. The FBI recently released this image of a woman taken from an ATM surveillance camera in Rhode Island, and they say it could be Ashley. Now, this photo has pushed Ashley's cold case back into the spotlight. Take a look.
Ashley Summers has been missing since 2007. She was 14 at the time of her disappearance.
She's the teenager who is feared to have been the fourth victim of Cleveland House of Horrors sicko Ariel Castro. Ashley Summers vanished just a few blocks from where Castro abducted Gina DeJesus and Amanda Berry.
The recent discovery of Amanda Berry, Gina DeJesus, and Michelle Knight has put the focus back on missing person cases all over Ohio.
If people have been found after being missing 10 years, we can find Ashley.
Could a woman wanted in connection with a string of crimes in Rhode Island be a Cleveland teen who went missing in 2007? The FBI is asking for help identifying the woman spotted in surveillance video who bears a strong resemblance to Ashley Summers.
Her family has renewed hope that their daughter is alive.
Is it possible the woman caught on that surveillance camera is Ashley Summers? Has Ashley been alive this whole time off the grid, involved in crime and possibly in danger? Well, Ashley's step-grandmother, Linda, and her mother, Jennifer, are joining us today. And this is the first time they are speaking out since this new development. You've seen the photos. What's your gut level tell you?
I'm not sure, but it's the closest picture I've seen that resembles her, so.
This picture, of course, it would be 8 years. Looking into her eyes, could that be her?
Yep.
What do you think?
Well, I feel very strongly that it could be her. The photo was actually sent to me, and I compared it with her different pictures and felt strong enough that it was her to forward it on to the FBI.
You say Ashley went missing on July 9th, 2007, and now this was 10 blocks away from Ariel Castro's house, and we all know what happened around that. That's where Michelle Knight was found along with Amanda Berry and Gina DeJesus, and when that situation broke, you all thought at the time when Amanda Berry came out and said that there was Gina DeJesus and another girl there, you thought maybe that could be Ashley, right?
Yeah, because I didn't hear about Michelle Knight, before that day.
Michelle wasn't named at the time. You guys thought maybe that was Ashley, but it turned out it wasn't. They said, well, there's a fourth person in there, which turned out to be Amanda's 6-year-old, but you even had hope then. So you've had this roller coaster of thinking, well, maybe it's Ashley, maybe it's Ashley. So it's hard to kind of ride that roller coaster and then be disappointed time and again.
Right.
Now, in November of that year, after she had been missing several months, you think you spotted her.
Yes.
Shorter hair, but you think you spotted her.
Yes.
But by the time you could get around and see, she was gone.
Right.
So you can't be sure, but you think you spotted her.
Right. She was walking down the street looking into our car, and by the time we went back, my husband and I went back and forth, and I think it's her. No, I don't think it's her, because the hair was cut short, so you weren't really sure. I said, well, let's just turn around and see if it really is, to get like a second look. And by the time we got the car turned around and back down, she had gone down an alley, and we lost her.
Okay. And then sometime the next summer, you got a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Was it from her?
It was from her.
Definitely from you.
Definitely from
no
her.
question in your mind, it was her voice.
At that moment, no question in my mind.
And what did she say?
It's me, Mom, I'm okay, don't worry.
Just that quick?
Just one deep breath, that quick.
And then hung up?
Yep.
It's me, Mom, don't worry, I'm okay, click. What did you think when you got that phone call?
I was happy, I was excited, and I thought she was going to call again, so I waited.
Wow. Were you shocked to hear her voice?
Yeah.
By that time, had you thought the worst, that something terrible had happened to her?
No.
You still, thought maybe she was just out there. There have been other sightings reported, but the leads have never panned out, right?
Correct.
What have you heard along the way? What kind of sightings have you heard?
I've heard some people say I saw her standing out here on the street, but I didn't know she was a missing person. Or I've seen her at this store or the other store. But nobody ever calls authorities. And I've had multiple people ask me, well, what do I do if I see her? Now she's an adult. And I said, call 911, make a scene, do something. But I'd rather you call 911 it be false than not do anything at all.
So at 14, if she was gone at that point, right, you believe she was taken, not that she ran away and stayed gone this long.
Right.
You clearly believe she was taken.
I believe she was at least got into a situation where she can get out of it.
All right, well, we're going to take a break, and we're going to speak to two facial recognition experts who have analyzed this photo. Do they think it's Ashley? Plus, if Ashley is out there, I'll tell her family what she needs to hear. We'll be right back.
So the first thing that happens is feature detection. Now that we have these 3D avatars, we can align them and calibrate them into a common coordinate system and then compare features.
Now, I have two experts joining me today. Both have scientifically analyzed this photo. Body language expert specializing in human behavior and facial recognition, Susan Constantine, is here. And Mark Valiant, PhD, President and CTO of Animetrics, Inc., a software company that builds investigative and automated facial recognition software, joins us via Polycom. Both of you have taken a look at these photos, and Mark, let me start with you. You have an amazing technology that takes a look at these photos from a scientific standpoint, looking at certain markers, and then evaluates it in terms of probabilities of whether or not it is two pictures are the same or different person, correct? What can you tell us about the technology, and then we'll take a look at it?
Sure. So we've got a couple different things that we work with. So one is our automated facial recognition system, which is built from algorithms that analyze pairs of pictures of the same person and pairs of pictures of different people, learns from studying those pictures how to differentiate between the same person and different people.
Mark actually sent us a video showing how the computer program Animetrics analyzed the two images. Now, you'll hear them refer to what is known as an unknown view, and that's the ATM photo that people think might be Ashley, who would be 22 now. And then the known photo is of Ashley taken before she disappeared at age 14. Let's take a look at the video.
So on the top we have the unknown view, and on the bottom we have a known picture of this person. So the first thing that happens is feature detection, finds the eyes and the nose, chin, and the ears. So each image runs through feature detection. When the landmark's in the right spot, we generate 3D avatars from the 2D images. Just click that button, and what we're going to have is a 3D avatar here from the top view and one for the bottom view. Now that we have these 3D avatars, we can actually align them and calibrate them into a common coordinate system, and then slide the slide viewer across and compare features. So over here in the 3D window, just like this, we have this divider, and it just makes it really easy to be able to compare features when you can just slide them right on top of each other instead of having to sort of look from the bottom one and then up and down and up and down. We also have a 2D comparison tool, so setting one image, we can then transform the other one to it based on 2D transformations. You can see how these features line up in that regard.
Wow. So Mark, after running it through that program, you say there is an 80% likelihood that those two pictures are of the same person, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Let me add Susan to the conversation here, and we'll put up some of the multiple photos here. You looked at all of the different photos that were available here, including the one on the ATM. We can list some of the similarities that that you pointed to: the heart-shaped face, forehead, eye width, corner-to-corner expression, all of these things. But talk about what your general conclusion was from everything that you looked at.
Well, my general conclusion is when I looked at both the photographs, there was a high level of similarity. Looking at the hairline level on both photographs and comparing them, and the eyebrows, and then the eyelids, the lower lids, in addition to the large space that she has from her on her top lid. So there's multiple things that I saw that were similar, that to me, I thought there was a high level probability that that could possibly be her.
If it is her, and she is out there, as Mark and the folks at Metrics thinks it may well be, as Susan thinks it may well be, and if she is watching this, what do you want to say to her? What do you want her to hear? What do you want her to know?
Well, tell her to come home. We'll help her. We love her.
We love you. We want you home. We'll help you through whatever situation you've gotten yourself into.
If you've seen her, look at these pictures, then please contact the authorities, contact us, get in touch and let us know what you know. Susan, thank you for your time and expertise in this. Susan Constantine. Mark Valiant, thank you, and thank Metrics for using your technology to take a look at this. So we appreciate it. Our hopes and prayers are with you guys in finding Ashley in the right way. Next, police searched a Florida swamp for a beautiful young mother who vanished after a dramatic appearance with her ex-fiancé on the People's Court. Why? And what did they find? Will Michelle Parker's father ever see her again? You'll hear what he has to say when we come back.
Michelle Parker has been missing since November 17th, 2011.
Parker vanished right after dropping her twins off the home of Dale Smith Jr., the father of her children.
Beautiful young mother Michelle Parker and her former fiancé Dale Smith were the parents of young twins. They broke up and had a bitter split. They even argued over an engagement ring on a 2011 episode of The People's Court. On the day their People's Court episode aired, Michelle dropped off her 3-year-old twins at her ex's home, and she was never seen again.
Michelle Parker has been missing since November 17th, 2011. She's the mother to 3 young children, the youngest twins.
Parker vanished in 2011 right after dropping her twins off the home of Dale Smith Jr., the father of her children.
A beautiful person with a magnetic personality.
Michelle Parker. She says a plate of demands
that the world saw the afternoon she vanished on the People's Court. She and her ex-fiancé, Dale Smith Jr., there to settle a dispute over an engagement ring in the pre-recorded episode.
Smith was named the primary suspect in the case.
We are officially naming Dale Smith, the ex-fiancé, as the primary suspect in the disappearance of Michelle Parker. I will say that we offered him a polygraph. He refused.
Dale, do you have any idea where she is?
Today was an emotional day for Michelle Parker's parents as well. Not only are they fighting to find their daughter, they just lost a battle for their grandkids.
A judge ruled that Dale Smith can keep custody of their 3-year-old twins.
DCF argued the potential for neglect plus Smith's violent past was enough evidence to remove the children from his care.
The injunction the mother filed said the children were screaming and were crying during the violent behavior of the father when he smashed her car window out in 2009.
DCF also pointed out Dale was arrested while serving in the military for domestic violence and eventually dishonorably discharged for abusing the drug ecstasy.
Criminal history dates back years.
But the judge ruled in Smith's favor. He decided the children should be with their dad.
Well, Michelle's father, Brad, has never given up hope. He says he never will.
On the day my daughter went missing, the phone rang. It was a friend of Michelle's telling us that Michelle did not come back home. I didn't really know what to do. We did try to find Michelle.
And family and friends are still hoping for answers in the search for Michelle Parker.
Her name was on the news.
Deputies hit the trails and combed through tall grass.
We had dogs out there. We were searching for her phone, her keys, any clothing, jewelry, anything to find Michelle. They went to Dale's house and searched his house. Dale was talking to the police until they named him primary suspect, and he quit talking. I have not seen my grandkids since Michelle disappeared. Dale will not let us see them. Not seeing my grandkids is devastating. That's my blood. I will never give up hope until we find Michelle.
Well, Michelle's father, Brad, and his wife, Gail, are here today. Dad to dad, I feel the pain in your voice. I just hate it for you. You still have hope?
Yeah.
That she's out there somewhere, somehow?
Until I find her bones or her body, I'm not giving up.
She dropped the children off at his house, and that was the last time she was ever seen.
Yes, sir. It was broad daylight, and Michelle just disappeared. Yeah, I believe Dale, he either did it, or he knows who did it, or he put somebody up to it.
And whatever happened to the investigation? They said he is the primary suspect. He refused a polygraph. He was dishonorably discharged. He had a drug history. Where did it ever go?
They're still searching.
And you want him to answer questions?
Yeah.
If I had the opportunity to sit down with him and ask him questions, would you want me to do that?
Yes, sir.
Because, you know, my belief is that people who have nothing to hide, hide nothing.
Right.
And so I would very much like the opportunity to sit down and give him the opportunity to tell his side of this story.
Yeah, and clear his name.
Well, the very last time Brad heard his daughter's voice lives with him forever. He listens to this voicemail on a regular basis.
This tape right here is the last voice message of Michelle.
Hey, Dad. It's about 8:40. This is Michelle on Wednesday morning. I know that you're at work, but call me when you have lunch or you have break or at the end of your day, okay? I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
I listen to it about once a month. To listen to this recording, sad, but it lifts my spirits up, and I treasure it.
Wow. Well, I want to point out that Dale Smith has not been charged or convicted of any crime related to Michelle Parker's disappearance. We reached out to Dale Smith through his attorney, who provided us a statement that reads in part, Dale Smith has consistently denied any involvement in the disappearance of Michelle Parker. More importantly, from the very beginning, he voluntarily provided statements to law enforcement, and he voluntarily allowed law enforcement to search his home and anywhere else they desired. Mr. Smith has chosen to give no further statements so he can raise his children in peace and keep them out of the limelight. You can read the full statement at drphil.com. If you have any information on Michelle Parker, please call Crime Line at 1-800-423-TIPS. 1-800-423-TIPS. So we'll keep our hopes up on that. Thank you so much. All right, next, you may remember Homeless Joe. He was the down-and-out Romeo who, despite sleeping on the street, still managed to pick up women so he'd have a place to stay. He appeared on the show, drunk and heading down a bad path. He agreed to go to rehab, but what has happened since will shock you. He's back after the break. You sleep with 80 women a year?
Yeah, it's not really that much.
That's almost nothing.
When you're not sleeping with a lady, though, where do you sleep?
On the sidewalk, on cardboard all-star.
What are your big tools? You don't look homeless.
I mean, there's some mornings I guarantee I look homeless.
There's some mornings I wake up and look homeless, but
I highly doubt
that. Well, you may remember this guy. Homeless Joe. He became a viral sensation when more than 5 million people watched an elite daily video that followed a day in his life. Joe was a 26-year-old millennial who looked like someone you wouldn't mind your daughter dating. But where Joe lived was shocking.
I do homelessness differently, you know what I'm saying? I might sleep on cardboard like 2 or 3 nights a week, but I literally wake up every single day and do whatever I want.
It was surprising that this fairly clean-cut, good-looking young man was homeless, but he had some pretty innovative tricks he used to fool everyone.
My responsibility is to try and not look homeless. I go to CVS and I take their hair gel. Now they have the mirrors near the makeup section. And I fix my hair. I grab a Red Bull and I walk out.
The craziest thing of all, Joe was a homeless Romeo, a cardboard Casanova, a charmer who picked up women from the bars for a place to sleep and a hot shower.
I forgot how to get just because I became homeless. I'll go up to any random girl here, tell them I love them, I want to marry them just for general recreation purposes. I like your shorts. You're adorable. I'm definitely trying to chill with you. I love you.
So he agreed to have his friend drive him across the country to be here on this stage. He had no money. He had no ID. He couldn't fly. He finally showed up here drunk as a skunk. Take a look.
I probably only sleep with 70 or 80 girls every year.
You pick up and sleep with 80 women a year?
Yeah, it's not really that much, dude. Think about it. There's 52 weeks in a year, so that's barely over 1 per week.
That's almost nothing.
When you're not sleeping with a lady, though, where do you sleep?
On the sidewalk, on cardboard all-star. This abstract lifestyle is not for everybody.
What are your big tools? You don't look homeless.
I mean, there's some mornings I guarantee I look homeless.
Some mornings I wake up and look homeless, but
I highly doubt that.
How much money do you make?
I don't know, the most I ever made was close to $300 in a day.
You actually have some money going through your hands.
Yeah, but I'm a train wreck, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Dude, once I get drunk, all bets are off.
You said you're drunk 100% of the time. You've done ecstasy, marijuana, abused alcohol, cocaine. You'll do about anything, right?
Yeah, as long as it's good quality. How can you be homeless and not do drugs and drink? I feel like the misery would just overwhelm you.
You've been to rehab 4 times.
Yeah. Direct result of shenanigans.
That's like a vacation for you, right?
I love it. Are you asking me a question?
Do you want me to ask you a question?
You can ask me as many questions as you want. Just don't stare at me anymore.
It looks to me like you have a really difficult and depressing existence. There's something you don't know. I've been homeless. I think it sucks, and the only reason you don't know that is because you're hammered most of the time, right?
Predominantly.
What are you hiding from?
Reality.
If I offer to bring you resources to give you one, no kidding, serious chance, would you do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You truly have a chance to turn your life around. He made it in one piece to Origins Recovery Center in South Padre Island, Texas. But after only 9 days, we got reports that Joe just picked up and left. Now, Joe called his friend Pedro to touch base and let him know he was still alive. Pedro came back on the show to give us this update. You say he has been arrested 6 times since he left rehab. What's he been getting arrested for?
Being drunk, fighting people.
What happened about him getting stabbed in the face?
He told me that he was at a bar, that 4 people ganged up on him, and they were beating him, and somebody apparently cut him with a knife across his face, and he had like 5-6 stitches.
What do you want to see happen to him?
I really wish he would change, because there's so much potential, and he's a good kid.
I had told him something when he was here. I told him, I will hunt you down if you run. Well, he ran, and we hunted him down. You won't believe where we found him, and you're going to see how he's doing after the break. Well, the last time I saw Joe, I promised him that I would haunt him and make sure he did not end up dead on the street. Well, guess what? It actually came to that, because after just 9 days in treatment, Joe went missing. We looked for him in Texas jails. We called his friends and family, and we finally got a message to him. We got him to the front desk of an Austin, Texas hotel and asked him to call us. Then we arranged for a car to pick him up and ship him back to treatment. It was quite the operation. We even had a hotel employee buying him shoes because he was wandering around drunk and barefoot. Well, Joe is back, and I think he's got on shoes. So, Joe, come on out. There he is. What do you say, man? Good to see you. How are you?
Excellent.
Have a seat. You're looking pretty dapper. You remember me?
I don't really remember talking to you last time, but I know who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good thing. I definitely remember you. So tell me, first off, tell me how you're doing now. How you feeling? How you doing? How's the world working for you?
I'm doing amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah. Got a job.
Yeah.
Working.
How old are you now?
I turned 27 2 days ago.
27, okay. You have been sober now how long?
Can't even match the music, they can't even rap, they're just black producers. Now they wanna crack the new shit, they just wanna act, they done bath the new kids. They can't even match the music, they can't even rap, they're just black producers. They just wanna crack the new shit, they just wanna act, they done bath the new kids. Sorry big man, with your big life and your kick man. Sorry big man, with your big life and your whip man. Sorry big man.
4 months on the 18th.
4 months on the 18th. So when you were here last, even though it's kind of a blur to you, you went from here to Origins on South Padre Island. You were there for 9 days, and then you went missing. So what happened?
Pretty much as soon as I got cut off the detox drugs, I decided to leave and went on a rampage in your home state.
Yeah. And where did you go? I mean, that's a long walk off the island.
Yeah, well, I got arrested within 6 hours of leaving there, and then I went to San Antonio. And San Antonio sucks to be homeless in. So I spent like 2 days there, right? And then after that, I hitchhiked to Austin and destroyed their city for like 3 weeks.
Where did you get stabbed? I mean, what city?
Oh, Austin.
You got stabbed in the eye?
It like grazed me. It wasn't that bad.
All right, coming up, there's someone here who Joe hasn't seen since he's been sober. That's next. Hey, Dr. Phil here. Did you know that more than 16 million kids in the U.S. are at risk of hunger each day? Join me and visit feedingamerica.org/hunger to find your local food bank to help. I'm Dr. Phil, and together, we are Feeding America. When we first met Joe, he had one person left in the entire world who was on his side. One single person. It was his best friend, literally the last friend he had left standing, a young man named Pedro. Pedro put up with Joe in a car for over 3,000 miles. God bless him. To get him here to me the first time. Pedro, come on out. There's your buddy. Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Surprise you. Like that?
That's crazy.
Good to see you.
Good to see this kid clean.
Yeah, how about that?
Good job, Joe.
Yeah, I'm like a role model now.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
Yeah, you actually, from everything I understand, you truly, and I want Pedro to know the good work, you have really leaned into this and sincerely have been working really, really hard and have done a great job of turning things around, gotten a job, doing good work. Why?
I actually don't think I've done anything. It's mostly God, you know? Because I had no intention of going back to rehab whatsoever. Like, I was having a blast in Austin. Like, I was yelling at God at like 7 o'clock in the morning while I was drinking a 40, walking down Congress Ave, barefoot, wearing shorts in like 30-degree weather. You know, had a rough night the night before. And asking him what he wanted from me. And about an hour and a half later, I saw this Venezuelan couple. They said that they saw my Dr. Phil update and that Pedro and you wanted me to go back to rehab. I'm like, so I was asking God what he wanted from me, and then this happens.
You do have to question, what do you think the chances are of all of those things, you know, falling together? I mean, you're walking down Congress Avenue in Austin, Texas, and you meet a Venezuelan couple that says, I saw you on Dr. Phil. They recognize you and saw...
They called me after that.
Yeah, and you said you were having a blast in Austin.
Oh, yeah.
This, was this walking down Congress Avenue barefoot in 30-degree temperature, was that part of the fun?
No, I told you before, like, sometimes mornings are terrible. But,
And-
like, if I had seen the Venezuelan couple at night, probably would have gone back to rehab.
Yeah, well, that's why maybe God held him in reserve for the next morning. God said, cue the Venezuelans. We need them. Okay, all right. You like where you are right now?
Absolutely. You know, I'm definitely happier than I've been in a long time. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I have an amazing relationship with my higher power now. And because of that, I'm seeing a lot of things materialize in my life, like a relationship with my family. I have a job, I live inside, like all this great stuff's happening.
Yeah. And it's up to you where it goes from here. And you got a lot of talent, you got a lot of personality, you got a lot of, you got a lot of charm. let's just see what you do with it. Good things to come. You believe in them, right?
Yeah, I do. I wouldn't waste 3,000 miles.
Yeah.
56 hours in the car with them, drinking the whole way.
You look so international. Girl, what's your name? I have to know. Ain't no one else in your lane. Let's fill this car with gas and go. No hesitation, I'm on it. If that's the way that you want it, that's cool with me, so let's ride. Let's go somewhere that you lie.
Getting pulled over.
Oh, that was so hilarious.
Nebraska. Yeah. Real hilarious.
Hey,
Let's get arrested in
Vegas
Nebraska.
was the best, though.
Gave him $30 and he made it up to $300, $400.
Yeah, let's keep those as memories. Memories. Coming up, for the past 4 years, my next guest has been waiting for the phone call that could change her life forever. Who is she hoping to hear on the other end? We'll find out next. We've all looked forward to getting that exciting phone call, the one telling you that you got the job or that your wife's in labor. Some calls can be life-changing. But for my next guest, Monica, that call could be life-saving. Take a look.
Every time the phone rings, I feel like my heart could just jump out of my chest. It could mean that somebody is calling to give me life. I was diagnosed with kidney disease and lupus when I was 22. I've had 2 kidney transplants already, but I've realized it's just another form of treatment and not a cure for the problem. I also go to dialysis 3 days a week. I have high blood pressure, chronic anemia, chronic fatigue, migraines, gout. I have difficulty getting out of bed some days because I'm just too tired. My life revolves around dialysis and waiting for a kidney. We oftentimes can't do things together as a family because of my health. I feel guilty that my husband Les calls himself my caretaker.
What would you like me to make you for dinner?
Grilled cheese.
How about a salad? That's good for you.
There are many days where I may look just fine, but my body feels like it's shutting down. My hope for the future is that I receive a kidney from a live donor and that it matches and it works.
Well, Monica is here, and also joining us is our very good friend, Dr. Frieda Lewis Hall, Chief Medical Officer of Pfizer. So welcome.
Thank
you. Now, you've received a couple of calls, but it just really didn't pan out, right?
That's right. Actually, about 3 months after starting dialysis this last time around, I received a call for a transplant, and I was on my way to Arkansas to see my dad, who was ill, and I got the call. So I had to drive back. It was a total of 24 hours of driving.
Oh, wow.
Drove back to the hospital, got prepped for surgery, waited and waited, and it didn't pan out.
Oh, that's got to be such a roller coaster. So,
it is.
Doctor, explain to us what exactly Monica is suffering from. What's going on here?
So Monica has end-stage renal disease, or ESRD. Now, that's when both kidneys fail to the point where they can no longer clear out waste or excess water in the body. Now, Monica has let us know that her end-stage renal disease is due to lupus, but the most common causes of end-stage renal disease, or ESRD, in the United States is diabetes and high blood pressure. Now, ESRD can be life-threatening. It can be deadly, and so it requires lifelong management, and most people who have ESRD need dialysis or a kidney transplant.
Yeah, and you're actually waiting not for your first or second, but for your third kidney transplant.
I received my first transplant from a living donor, which was my sister Kathy.
Right.
And it was a very good match, and unfortunately 9 months later, for no known reason, it rejected. Then the second was off the transplant list, and that one also never functioned perfectly, rejected. I had to do chemotherapy along the way, and in total it lasted 5 years.
Is it common to need multiple transplants like she's experiencing here?
So, unfortunately, the answer is yes. Over 20% of kidney transplants every year are what we call retransplants, people who are getting second or third kidneys, yes. And you can lose a kidney transplant for a number of reasons. One of the most common reasons, however, is that when the kidney is transplanted into your body's immune system sees it as a foreign invader, and so it attacks it with the intent to destroy it. That's why people who get kidney transplants are on medications to help reduce the risk of rejection. Sometimes in the end, though, the body's immune system wins out.
Yeah. So you've been on dialysis now for like 4 years.
Yes.
Okay, so how are you feeling?
Physically, I have good days and bad days, and on the bad days, I need to be in bed all day. Emotionally, it is a challenge to balance all the fear and struggle and pain that you go through, and then also still have hope and, you know, just hope for the future that everything will work out.
Yeah. Now, do you participate through the support groups and that sort of thing?
On Facebook, there's a couple of support groups with other patients like myself.
I tell you, it makes such a big difference to not become isolated with this, because if you do have the support groups, whether they're online or in person through the hospital or the community, whether it's a prayer partner or somebody that's got a new article to read or whatever, it can make a huge difference.
For people who have diabetes and high blood pressure, or for people who are at risk for those illnesses, remember, those are the leading causes for ESRD in this country. Protect your kidneys. So go to your doctor, manage those conditions, make sure that you do your best to reduce your risk for ESRD. And they can go to gethealthystayhealthy.com for more information on that, and also on information on what's involved in becoming an organ donor.
You are an inspiration. We're all hanging in there with you. So
thank you.
Thanks. All right. I want to thank all of my guests today, especially Dr. Frida Lewis Hall. For more information on today's show, you can visit drphil.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Paul. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys. Thanks so much. See ya.
Now on Nashville's News 2, a beautiful day out there today, but some big changes are in store for your forecast this week.
Also,